Toledo and Eastern Michigan. To me, we just talked about the chip on the shoulder game. This is the vengeance game. This is the game of vengeance, and it's all about Toledo. I mean, Toledo, the Rockets, they're going to come in and they might put Eastern Michigan in space. I mean, this might be bad. Okay, Toledo, and the reason I say that is because if you paid attention to what happened last week, Toledo versus University of Buffalo, battle of the bigs in the MAC. The leader of the MAC is now the Buffalo Bulls because they came back from a 24-point deficit in the fourth quarter, Steve, against Toledo. Toledo, if you know anything about this team, I mean, they're usually the top of the MAC. They're one of those group of 5 teams that you talk about, usually being one of the top ones, paying attention to one of the better bowls for a group of 5 team at large. They're going to be angry, and they're going to play angry. The adjustments have been made. Eastern Michigan, if you, for example, let's just put in comparison, Buffalo was down 24 points to Toledo in the beginning of the third quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, they wound up winning the football game. So Toledo was up by 24, assuming that crazy fourth quarter thing didn't happen. Buffalo blew out Eastern Michigan by the score of 50-31. Okay, put 50 points on. I am really thinking that Toledo is going to take off and run with this game. They're only a 6.5-point favorite. I'm slamming Toledo on that spread. I think they win by 2 scores and more. 54.5 is the over-under. Thinking it's an over game. I'm seeing this as like I really do think this is going to be like a 42-49-14 football game. Like, I think Toledo is really just going to make a statement with Eastern Michigan.
I think that's what they hope. I don't know that it's going to be a blowout like that. I do agree there's going to be a lot of points on the board. And it's kind of funny because when you think about the MAC, you think, okay, Midwest. So when you think Midwest, you think Big Ten, and that's more grinded out, physical, a lot of good defenses. I mean, sure, you've got Ohio State and Michigan and, and sometimes, Michigan State sometimes had some great offenses, but really you think defensive football, the MAC, I don't even know why they even put a defensive side with some of the teams in the MAC.
With some of them, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, all they want to do is score. And Toledo is in the top, it's within the top 40 in rushing nationally. Their quarterback, a dual threat, but certainly on the ground, he is a lot more reliable. Finn is so much more reliable with Toledo. They grind out the ball. They can throw it, though. Again, that's where Finn gets in trouble. He had 4 interceptions last week, including, I want to say 3 of the 4 were in the second half. So that helped set up a lot of Buffalo situations. So I agree. Toledo needs to make a statement. They gave up 77 points to Ohio State. Okay, that's kind of tough. But Toledo's given up 30 points twice. I'm sorry, no, sure, they scored 50 points 3 times. So that's the kind of dichotomy that you have with Toledo. They're going to gun it. And I don't know that Eastern Michigan defensively, they're okay. I mean, as far as a MAC team goes, again, the defense is not the name of the game. There's no D in MAC. Okay, so it's I think they can keep it running with Toledo. I think it's going to be back and forth. So where certainly you want to go the over, and I think Toledo's going to at least score 40 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see Eastern Michigan put up 30.
Okay, fair. All right. But we both think Toledo's going to win this football game, and it seems like by a pretty decent margin. You just think it's not going to be as crazy. I do think Toledo's just going to go out on an absolute statement. I've been wrong with these before. Don't get me wrong. We've heard all about it. Like, you said this was going to happen. Of course, that's what we're here for. We don't have one of those. I wish this was the magazine from Back to the Future. Okay. I wish it was, because I would not probably be doing a podcast with you, Steve. I'd probably be sitting on an island with a pina colada in my hand.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out with Eastern Michigan is they've kind of switched over to their sophomore quarterback, Austin Smith, and he has really done a nice job. I mean, he really had some nice moments in the games that he has taken over. So I think if they indeed is going to start, I believe he's listed to be the starting quarterback this weekend. I think that also changes the dynamic of the Eastern Michigan offense. So therefore, that's where I'm a little bit more confident that it could be a little bit more back and forth. Eventually, Toledo's going to pull away, and I think they'll cover the 6.5, but I don't think they're going to get blown out where it's going to be a 20, a 3-4 touchdown differential. I just don't see that happening.
6.5 points for spreads are sweet spots for me. Like if you feel like a team can win by a touchdown, then you
Yeah.
play that all day long. 6.5 points, 5.5 points, give that to me all day long.